It's 8 a.m. on a Monday, and I'm sitting in a circle with 12 other people. We're having a sort of morning powwow, gearing up for the day ahead. I'm feeling good, confident even, and I'm sitting directly on the carpet because, well, it's 1991 and I'm in kindergarten. My teacher, Mrs. Weaver, is going on about the alphabet or something, and I make eye contact with a girl sitting directly across the circle from me, Erin Watley. Now, I've only known Erin for a few months, but I like her. She has a good vibe, and I think we're friends. So we're looking at each other, and her eyes drift downward just slightly. She looks up at me again and just points down to where I'm sitting. So I look down to see what she's pointing at, and two things dawn on me simultaneously. The first thing is that there's a hole in the crotch of my sweatpants just left of the seam. The second thing is that I forgot to put on underwear. Now I can only imagine what Erin Watley is seeing because from my angle, I can see skin. Wrinkly skin. Now this is the first time in my life that I remember being embarrassed, mortified. I wanted to leave that room and leave the school and find a new school that didn't have Erin Watley or anybody else that noticed my terrible mistake. Of course I got over it. Erin was cool, she didn't laugh, she was just giving me the heads up. We ended up being in the same class all the way through 8th grade and she never brought it up. In fact, I'd be shocked if she even remembered that this happened. But that experience taught me a very important lesson about myself, which is, I care what people think. Now these days, it's trendy for people to act like they don't care what anybody thinks, especially men. Many guys take this mindset a bit too far. They're actively trying to prove how little they care, and it can come off as rude or even aggressive. But the truth is, we all care what people think about us. It's a natural part of being one of the most social creatures on the planet. And it's not a bad thing. If no one cared about what anybody else thought, it would be chaos out there, anarchy. The human species probably wouldn't have survived to this point. I'm not saying you should be a people pleaser. I'm not saying you shouldn't stand up for yourself. I'm saying that it's okay and it's natural to want people to like you. And when people like you, it often makes your life a bit easier. Bosses hire people they like. Partners date people they like. Customers buy things from people they like. I think we sort of all know this is true, but still, out in the wild, you see people doing things all the time that make them unlikable. So in this video, I want to talk about 6 things you can do to make people like you, from close friends to complete strangers. I'll start with something extremely simple. When you're having a conversation with somebody, don't talk about yourself. Talk about them instead. This is straight out of Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is a book worth reading, by the way. And it's one of the easiest social hacks that you can learn. You see, we're all pretty narcissistic. We are all the main character in our own little movie, the center of our own little universe. We think about ourselves and we even talk to ourselves constantly. And we love when other people talk about us. Everybody does. So when you're in a conversation, especially with someone new, like on a first date, ask them questions about themselves. If they ask about you, of course you should talk about yourself a bit too, answer their questions, but always try to steer the conversation back toward them. Counterintuitively, this will make the person think that you're more interesting, even if they don't learn a whole lot about you. And that's okay. Let yourself be a mystery. Focus on them. The second tip is even simpler, but it takes a bit of nuance to get right. Smile. You don't want to smile too much, and you don't want to fake it. A genuine smile involves your eyes, not just your mouth. That's why so many stock photos look a bit uncanny, a bit weird, is because the smiles are obviously fake. During an actual smile, you kind of narrow your eyes a little bit, causing these wrinkles at the corners. The funny thing is, if you force a smile, sometimes it does make you feel good and it turns into a real smile. I try to do this in pictures. I act like I just heard the funniest joke ever, and I act like I'm laughing, and it usually leads to a better picture. Another pro tip with smiling is to not do it too quickly or too often. You ever meet somebody who just smiles immediately and all the time, and it's like, what are you selling, salesman? Be a little stingy with your smile. So don't smile right away. Wait till they talk to you or look at you and then smile. And the person you're talking to will think that they caused that smile. They brought it out of you. And if you're happy to see them, they probably did. The third technique works equally well with loved ones and total strangers. Give a compliment. For example, mention something about their appearance. Glasses is an easy one. People use glasses to express their personalities. Every single person will appreciate when you compliment their glasses. And it doesn't have to be overly enthusiastic like, I love your glasses. It can be subtle. Oh wow, nice glasses. Where'd you get those? Or it can just be really simple. I really like those glasses. You can also comment on shoes or earrings or hairstyles. Really anything that someone chose for themselves. If someone's wearing a name tag, you can comment on their name. Tell them that you like their name. Oh, Sarah, I like that name. Everybody likes the sound of their own name, especially when it's coming out of someone else's mouth. Now, one warning, try to avoid commenting on people's physique. Things that they can't change or can't easily change. Height, build, muscles, how thin they are. Don't comment on any of that. For loved ones who you know well, you can comment on their physique if it's positive. Okay, the next tip is to be vulnerable. How do you spell vulnerable? Vulnerable. I thought this little writing on Post-its would be interesting and add like a nice visual element to my videos, but I'm left-handed, my penmanship is horrible, and I don't think this is going well, but I'm gonna keep doing it. Vulnerability. You can show this in two different ways. The first way is to be self-deprecating. So the most skillful comedians don't make fun of other people, they make fun of themselves, and by doing so, they make other people laugh. Brian Regan is a great example of this. He somehow manages to be totally clean, he doesn't use any profanity, he doesn't tell dirty jokes, but he's hilarious, and he doesn't throw anybody else under the bus. He pretty much just makes fun of himself. He's self-deprecating, and self-deprecation is a form of vulnerability because you're admitting your own faults. And as many psychological studies have shown, vulnerability is attractive. The second way to show vulnerability is to ask for help or advice. You might think that asking for advice will make you look like you don't know what you're doing, like you're incompetent, but the exact opposite is actually true. A 2015 Harvard study found that asking for advice can make other people think you're more competent, not less. Plus, when you give other people the opportunity to help you, it endears you to them. People love feeling helpful or like they've made a difference in somebody else's life. That's why firefighters and speech pathologists and physician's assistants all report very high job satisfaction. They're constantly helping other people. I use this technique all the time. I'll reach out to people in my industry, like other YouTubers, and I'll ask them for advice. I'll ask them about growing my channel or creating better content or hiring people, anything that they probably know more about than I do. Not only do most of them respond and agree to meet me or help me, a lot of them actually become really good friends. On the other side of that equation, I always love helping people. If people reach out to me with those same questions or requests, I pretty much always say yes. It's flattering, it makes me feel like an expert, and it makes me feel great to help somebody else out, especially who's trying to do something that I am doing or that I've done. I bet you also jump at the chance to help other people, even if there's seemingly nothing in it for you. So give people that opportunity to help you. Okay, and the last thing you can do to make people like you is simply be around. That one went okay. As it turns out, us humans like stuff that we interact with regularly. This is called the mere exposure effect. Basically, as long as somebody doesn't have a reason not to like you, the more they see you, the more they're gonna like you. I feel like this was more obvious to older generations. Like my dad will go to the same restaurant over and over and over, the same mechanic for years, and he'll get to know them. He's on a first name basis with them. They know what he likes. He creates genuine bonds with these people, even though they aren't really friends or family. And these bonds often come with perks. You know, he'll get the best table, he'll get the free dessert, he'll get a discount on a car repair. This kind of regularity seems to have been lost with younger generations, myself included. Many of my millennial friends crave novelty, so they never go to the same restaurant. You know, they try something new every weekend. Or even if they do go to the same vendors over and over, like the same mechanic, they don't really get to know them. You know, many young people don't even know their neighbors. But if you can become comfortable with actually talking and engaging with the people that you're around regularly anyway, and also visiting the same places over and over, like the same restaurants and grocery stores, and getting to know the people that work there, you will reap the compounding benefits of the mere exposure effect. You'll become a VIP regardless of what kind of credit card you have. And that's it. That is the last way to make people like you. And with these 6 techniques, even if you only pick up on 1 or 2 of them and start experimenting with them, I promise it's gonna make a difference in your life and in the lives of the people who you interact with. I want to hear from you. Have you tried any of these things that I've talked about, or do you have any other techniques that you use? Let me know down in the comments section. Thank you as always for watching, and until next time, stay stylish.